All right. Well, hello everybody. My name is Josh Krage. I am I'm many things. I'm a professional musician. I'm a social media, I'll say user and slight expert's a stretch. But let's say I've been a specialist and I'm being paid for that as we speak on a limited basis. I've been using social media since social media was a thing, since Friendster and MySpace became household names, and it's something I use currently mostly to promote music related endeavors, but also to help small businesses. And that is what led me to near the end of last year to hop on with the Better Business Bureau as their social media specialist. I haven't been doing that for the past few months. We parted ways, but doing that for that company is what led me to the presentation today. Because before we parted ways, that was a big passion of mine and continues to be a passion, helping people use social media to better their small businesses for marketing, for promotion, just for general presence. So that's what's going to be presented today. And I will give you full disclosure that I have not updated some of the slides with current, let's say, stats and research since leaving the Better Business Bureau. So some of them are a little bit outdated, and I want to give you that up front, but I do have updates for a lot of those stats and still track most of the happenings in social media because it's ever evolving. Anything that you learn today, it's probably going to be not so much outdated, but it's going to be older, and you'll want to keep tabs on it a few months down the line. Whatever it is that you learn today may have a slightly different slant or color a little bit down the line. That being said, let's it's a, that's a good question. Will you two have the same title, or no? Let me know.
Yes. So the title of the meetup today will be the title of the YouTube video when we post that.
All right. So, on to my presentation. Mostly what we're going to do today here is go through some general terminology and understanding about what social media is and especially what it is for your business. Meaning that if you have social media for your business and you're trying to use it in a professional manner, what does that look like? What should it look like? What you probably want it to look like? And then who's out there doing it well and why they're succeeding and how you can succeed as well. So let's get to that. I'll share my screen. And as long as that works all right, we will start presenting full screen. That's not the one I want. Give me a moment. I know it's on here somewhere. No, that's not it. And that's not it either. No, that's not it. Well, shucks, I found it the other day. Anyways, I could probably just go on through this and you can see the
You're looking
little.
for the full screen button, Josh?
Indeed, I
I
am.
believe it's on the view menu
Thank
at the
you.
very bottom.
Yeah, enter full screen. There we go.
There you go.
All right, let's get down to these. Let me adjust this real fast. Pardon me. All right. So, as you can see, uh, this was put together as a Better Business Bureau presentation. That's the Better Business Bureau representing Sacramento and Northeast California. If you want, if you ever want more information about the Better Business Bureau, that's an entirely different topic. But I'm willing to give you as much information as you want. Some small businesses can benefit from it. Some, yeah, I don't know. I won't talk. Yeah, I won't say up or down. But meanwhile, all the information from this presentation was brought to you by the Sacramento and Northeast California Better Business Bureau. On we go. So today, we're going to do more than this, but I had to, if we're talking about anything on the internet and social media, you can't do it without talking about cats. And I'm doing that mostly jokingly, but there is an angle that is serious that needs to be understood, and we're going to get to that. Meanwhile, keep this cat in mind because he's adorable. He's my cat Mushroom. He's a super cute dude. So today, I am Josh, and as we said before, our goal is to help small businesses understand a little bit about social media, what it is right now, how to use it. Now, for those of you currently engaged in small business social media, you may notice that your engagement level is pretty low. That means the people that are actually responding to you, the reach that you're getting, the people that seem to even notice your existence is pretty low. And that is kind of the same across the board. It has been for, I'm going to say, a couple of years now, especially on the major, more well known platforms like Twitter, now X, Facebook, Instagram. except TikTok. And TikTok continues to be trending higher but that's mostly because of younger viewers and because it's just ridiculously, empty calorie, no redeeming social quality entertainment a lot of the time, and that's what kids want. Just like we did as children watching television, or when YouTube became a thing. In any case, I have listed here a quote. It's one of my favorite quotes that I've seen recently from a former Snapchat exec. So one day, it's hard to say exactly when, a switch was flipped away from news, away from followers, away from real friends, towards the final answer and earning more time from users. Highly addictive short form videos that magically appear to numb a chaotic, crowded brain. Meaning that all of our attention deficit heads really just look towards the shiny, most weird thing. And that's it's just something to note. That's what you're up against. If your professional business is trying to get noticed in this marketplace, that's what we're up against. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, if you do try to engage with TikTok, just know this you're going to be in good company, feeling like the one of the older people in the room. It's kind of like when you go to a nightclub these days, and everybody's 20 and just feeling like they can go forever, and you're just looking for a place to sit down. Meanwhile, in order to actively and effectively engage this topic, it's good to go over a few things. Internet users, on average, spending a couple hours a day engaging with these platforms. Now, those can be your clients or your peers or your competitors. Social media users are usually a unique audience that you can't reach with conventional marketing. More and more, these platforms display trends and dynamics that can't be discovered externally. It means that you're only going to figure it out if you're engaging on that platform and finding those people that are on it. It engages new leads in that shared space that those people are occupying, that they aren't occupying anywhere else. And at the end of the day, most of these platforms are quote unquote free, quote unquote, because you still pay with your time and your data. And they love that data, and that's how they're making that money. You best believe it. Another thing to keep in mind, and it's why, in my opinion, something like this today is important mostly as a general information gathering uh, exercise rather than specifically going for one or two platforms, because the platforms themselves, you don't own them. You don't have many rights. You have to click the agreements, and then they control most of your flow, most of your data, most of your interactions. Social media, my quote here, social media is great, but you're building on rented land at the mercy of the algorithm. That's from a guy named Brendan Gahan, who's a social media marketer. Everything you learn can be transferred to another platform, and sometimes may need to be. And we'll get to that too, because we have recent developments in one of our bigger social media platforms from the dawn of social media. It's been pretty amazing to see it change so drastically, so rapidly. But we'll get that. Now, thinking about this, a lot of my friends who have businesses hate getting on social media, and I understand why. It's because it's a sharp learning curve in some ways, and it just seems like it sucks up so much of your time. But I have this graphic here to remind me that these kind of things, if you fear them and you don't engage with them, you don't keep changing and keep learning, the world keeps changing around you, it keeps moving forward, and so basically, it's better to respond instead of fear. Like if it's raining outside, or if you don't know what the weather's like, you don't just not go outside because it's might be rainy or because the weather is tough. If you got to go do business, you grab your umbrella and you go outside. You get the tool that you need in order to engage the environment that you in which you need to do business. This is what social media can do for you. So moving on, getting some goals. If we were in a room, I would ask how many people recognize all the tabs that are on this graphic here. And there are even more that have been added since I made this, and it seems like more are added every day. I don't know how many hundreds of apps, how many like dozens of startups. Yeah, venture capital like is looking for even more to invest in. But all these different platforms. Which one's right for you? What strategies can work for you? These are slow questions to answer, but they're worth answering. Yeah, we'll get to some goals later, but that's ultimately a question you have to answer for yourself, for your business, for your particular needs. So we'll move forward. I don't think I really want to do the icebreaker for today, but I do love hearing about the weird things that people see on social media because every platform has its own oddities, and uh, yeah, it's something to think about. What is the weirdest thing that you saw that you've seen on social media? If you are a consumer or a utilizer of social media, on what platform did you see it? What was the post about? What about it struck you as weird? What demographic do you think it was geared towards? Why do you remember it? What was it about it that was memorable? What is your favorite color? All right, I'm looking at the chat here. Skippity toilet. That's interesting. I don't know what that means, and I'm if you want to unmute and let us know, I'm super excited to hear about that. Yeah, and the reason now is from X. Look at that. In any case, something to think about because different things. Let's see. Newer trend from one of the younger generations. All right, skippity toilet. Nolan, we got some fact finding to do after this
All right, that'll
meeting.
be part two. We'll cover that next month.
Important updates on skippity toilet. Moving on. All right, this is my launch point for this particular presentation. Because when you think about social media, and I'm going to get to this and I have it printed out in the next slide, like all written out to reference. If you're going to a meeting, if you're going to like a mixer, and I'm sure like, marketing mixers, if you have a business, you have to go out once in a while and do those, or Zoom meeting mixers, any kind of thing. You show up, and if there's a person in the room that only wants to hand you a coupon and give you the spiel about what their business is and try to sign you up right then, you usually want to avoid that person. That is not what social media is. Social media, it says it in the title. It's more social than media. The point is that it's people interacting in a shared space. And so if you're a business and you're trying to use social media, but you're only thinking about it from the business aspect of it, from the business end of it, you're missing the point. Social media is geared to be social. Thus, so yeah, not business media. You don't go to a social event. Like, yeah, there's a term in the marketing world that's applied to social media. It's called brand voice billboards. Each social account is a landing page as important as your main website, which hopefully you have. It's a conversational billboard for consumers to get to know your voice as a brand, not as a colorless corporate entity. So, if you have a plumbing business or your web development business, if you're on social media, sure, they're going to want to know what you do, but social media is there not just for business, it's there for fun. Now, there is a statistic and a rule in order to abide by for posting, and it's the 80-20 rule. That's for every, for every 5 posts, for every, 100% of the time, 80% of your social media posts should not be directly about business. Should not be, cold hard, just, buy 5, get 6 for free, or something like that. People most of the time don't want to hear that. Social media, they want to be entertained, they want to be educated, they want to be engaged, and a lot of the times the business part is not the way to engage that. There's volumes written about that in marketing, but that's for social media. That's about the rule. Also, 50-30-20 rule is another way to break that down. 50% of your posts should engage, 30% of your posts should inform, 20% should promote your business. In conjunction with that, and another reason a lot of people get away from social media is because they feel it gets so negative. So if you're going to establish a presence on social media, you need to lead from the positive. You need to always be pointing your customer, your client upward. Give them something to aspire to, not be batting down or, always focus on the positive. In the long run, it'll get you a lot more business. Now, social media value in our marketplace. For most of us, we have small businesses. We're not doing this on behalf of major multinational corporations. I mean, some of us are. It was an interesting experience running social media for the Better Business Bureau in our area. Really, really interesting corporation. In any case, small, medium-sized businesses comprise the largest section of social media because there's just so many of them out there. So digital community in action. Each of your posts can be a digital billboard. Every time you post something on a wall post, granted there's different kind of posts out there, but if you put a regular Facebook post out there, that's something that people can reference for years. And it's why some people get in trouble when they, do something naughty with those. But if it's something that's entertaining and something that says something good about your business, that will continue to say something good about your business for every customer that shows up on your page. So we'll continue, consider it as a billboard. Crowdsourcing. If you haven't heard that word, actually, I think we get to that in one of these upcoming slides. Another advertising component of social media, if you haven't heard about it, A/B advertising in a focused environment. A/B advertising is basically taking two types, like two different kinds of ads, running them both and see which one sticks. And you can apply that in different ways. The demographics, if you're doing advertising in general, whether it's paid or not, a lot of times you can track the metrics, you can track the or insights, depending on what you're called. You can track the information on the customers reached on these individual platforms. What is your favorite color? So let's go through some terms. I'm going to assume most of you know some of these, but just in case, and for anybody who watches this afterwards, let's go through some terms. So hashtag, that's the little number sign. It's a word or phrase, usually on social media, used to identify and track specific content. It was developed on Twitter originally, now X, used for being able to just take one topic, one hashtag, and you can track every post that it pops up on. And so you can find out, how much engagement is going on. I'm going to try to keep monitoring the chat as we're going. These slides be available to review afterwards. I believe so. Yes. No. And that's.
Yes. You want to send me a link? I'll put it on the YouTube page with the video. So links off to the slides so people can follow along on that. And Josh, if you want, if it would help you, I can monitor the chat today too and let you know if anything time sensitive pops up, so you can just kind of stay on the slide deck if you'd prefer to work that way.
Sure.
Just an option.
All right, I'm just reading this comment from Marie. I saw a guy on Twitter harass local garbage companies, asking them to crush him in a garbage disposal full of diapers. Yeah, I wouldn't call that positive, but it sure is interesting. All right, moving forward, the term tag mostly applies on Facebook and Instagram, or anywhere that has a site. You tag somebody by putting an @ in front of their social media handle. It's including or linking another account name or handle in your post. And so that means that a consumer can click on that person's tag and go to their page, or that means that it can alert that particular social media account that they're being tagged. Algorithm, it's a program or rule set helping sites identify /quantify /rank content on your platform. Algorithms are sure slippery little fellas, and they change a lot, and it's worth knowing that they're out there and how to utilize them. KPI is an acronym for Key Performance Indicator, data used to measure effectiveness of marketing. CTA, a call to action, desired action by customer audience in response to a post. If you're doing a marketing post, you want to usually include a call to action because you want a customer to do something rather than just to look at it and say, haha, funny, and move on to cat videos. Trending, it's just what's happening right now. Ephemeral is short term. It's stories on Instagram, Snapchat, anything that is not going to stay up forever. So, a wall post will stay up forever. A story post usually will disappear after a day. Crowdsourcing is one of my favorite uses of social media, and I use this for so many things. It's polling your audience, usually to generate ideas or solutions or leads for a particular problem. I come across a lot of weird problems, and crowdsourcing helps me out a lot of the time. All right, let's do a review of what's out there. Facebook, Facebook, these guys. Oh, Facebook. Now it's in the metaverse. Yeah, Meta. It's pretty big. There's a lot of antitrust heading Meta's way. We know this is happening. We can, just monitor your news feeds. It'll happen probably within the year. But while we're waiting for that, it's a user-friendly platform. It's pretty easy to do. All of our parents are pretty much on Facebook. A lot of us are still on Facebook, even as just a signpost, even if we don't engage a lot. It's dependable. It's likely not going to be shut down anytime soon. It's customizable in a lot of ways. The ads you can run, you can target them to certain demographics and then track how your ad is doing in a lot of ways. You can do paid posts, and they really love you to do paid posts. Meta Business Suite is a new program that they are funneling so much money into to try to get everybody to use, and it's not going to say it's great, but it's out there. It's something worth doing. It skews to an older demographic, and a lot of the times you can treat it mostly as digital billboards. Every Facebook post you can just leave up there, and somebody might see it this week or this year or 5 years from now. Instagram, at the moment, for engagement, it's the safest bet in my opinion. They have three different ways that you can post. You can make a wall post, which is a permanent post. You can make a story post, which is ephemeral, disappears after 24 hours. And Reels, which is their attempt to copy TikTok, is basically video posts. You can make them, they stay forever, but you can make all sorts of different customizations on Reels. Skews a younger demographic, so if you're trying to reach a younger audience, Instagram will get you there. Favors visual creativity and innovation. It's owned by Meta slash Facebook, so again, likely not to be banned anytime in the United States, which we can't say about some of these other platforms. The paid posts that you post on these, they really do give you wider reach because they want you to engage so much. At the beginning of this year, all of their engagement was down on Facebook and Instagram, and so I don't know, there wasn't any publicized memos about this, but they basically started making paid posts hit, more effectively. So and that was great. So we had things, and we tried to advertise them, and it actually worked for once. I don't know if it's still working. I haven't done a paid post in about a month. But the last one I did was for a big show, a big rock and roll show, and it actually did get some pretty good reach. It had a 300% increase on my Instagram platform, and we got some people out to see that show because of that paid post, and that's what I want. Seriously, though, I mean, if you still, show us your lunch. Instagram, just post that food because I want to know where the good places to eat are, and Instagram is the way to find out. Moving on, we just talked about paid ads. If you're looking to use social media for your small business, doing a paid ad on Facebook or Instagram is a pretty cheap way to increase your reach across a lot of audience that you wouldn't reach anywhere else. They won't find you out in the real world. They won't find you on TV. They won't find you on radio. They're only paying attention to their Instagram and Facebook feeds. You can get some mileage out of paid ads. I usually spend anywhere from $25 to $100 on a paid ad, and I'll get a lot of reach out of that. That's just for my own stuff. Paid Postapalooza. Social media companies really want you to advertise. The return on investment. That's another term if you don't know about ROI, return on investment. Yeah, relatively high. Yeah, targeting demographics. Also, you can change who your ad reaches. You can change what ages, what geographic location. Back in March, there was some of these stats were published, and a lot of things people found on social media, whether it was just information or a product, almost 50% were from targeted ads. So yeah, worth investing in, worth finding out about, worth tracking, and worth setting up. It takes a little bit to get Meta Business Suite up and running. You have to sign up for it, and you have to authorize your accounts for a lot of different things, and they're changing some of them pretty soon. It seems exhaustive, but it's not that much work, and it's worth investing, about 30 minutes of your day to get it up and running, and then you can make it work for you. All right, LinkedIn. If any of you guys use LinkedIn, it's not like the other social media networks. It really is, and I put it up at the top here. It's a business awards luncheon at the Holiday Inn, but as a social media platform. Basically, think of every post that you include on your LinkedIn file, and you have to have it linked to a personal account. You can't just have a business account. A business account is linked to a personal account. Every single one needs to have some kind of minor accolade. You need to be upvoting somebody that's yay, just got promoted to head of assistant business or something like that. It doesn't matter. Just when we underline the phrase lead from the positive, LinkedIn is the reason, because you can get a lot of impact on social media. It's a weird corporate version of social media, but it can be effective. I've made some serious connections on LinkedIn, and you can find out about anybody that you know. You can find out who they're following and find out new business leads in that way as well. Definitely higher attention span though, and for a more professional crowd. Moving on, Twitter, which is now X. God bless Elon Musk. I just read that he's looking to make all the X accounts paid subscriptions. We'll see how that goes. Meanwhile, Yeah, and that reminds me, I haven't added threads to this presentation, which is Instagram's version of Twitter/X, which is just text-based social media posts, just like Twitter was, just like X kind of is. Yeah, whether or not you want to get involved in this one, just know that Twitter/X or Threads are more text-based. I personally haven't. See, as the Better Business Bureau, we canceled our Twitter account once Elon Musk bought it, and I know a lot of people followed suit. But there's still people there. You might still reach people if your client base loves that, then meet them there. Meanwhile, yeah, if you're not ready to invest in Dogecoin, you might not want to take the leap into X. Moving on, TikTok. It's just ridiculous. If any of you have attempted to make a presence on TikTok for your business, you know that yeah, you're in company of just basically squirrel videos. It's just the smallest, quickest, just most ridiculous attention span type stuff. However, there is huge markets for do-it-yourself videos, for DIY things, and for cerebral content like I can't think of the word, like coping skill things or like therapy, like ideas, like big ideas have found root on TikTok. If you have something that works for dealing with any kind of problem out there, you can make a little 90-second video on TikTok, or now a 10-minute video on TikTok, and a lot of people can benefit from that, and they can see your business. If your business solves a problem and you can make a little short video and post that on TikTok, you can get a lot of engagement. So you might want to check out TikTok for that. And that's also true on Reels for Instagram. But TikTok has a very different demographic because if anybody doesn't want to be connected to a Facebook/Meta, then they won't post anything on Instagram, but they might keep posting on TikTok. TikTok has not been like overtaken by parents yet, so a lot of kids still actually engage on it. But it does focus on, let's say, more user-friendly editing and video production. It's not incredibly polished. It's a and this is big if you want to get any kind of engagement and mileage on TikTok. More engagement comes through trends and filters and noises. Like there could be just this little 5 second thing of like a squirrel making a noise, and somebody just uses that to make a video and it'll go viral. And then you can use that squirrel noise in front of a graphic of your business and you will get 100,000 views. Whereas if you make a 30-second professional polished commercial, you will get 80 views. And I'm dead serious because I saw it happen. So that's something to know about TikTok. The way to engage really is trend based. YouTube. Most of us know YouTube because you go there looking for videos, but a lot of people use YouTube for search engine. Anything you post to YouTube, you can do a really good job customizing the search engine optimization of it. You can add your little tags and people can find it, and you can find yeah, it's incredibly useful as a search engine, and that's been shocking to me, but it makes a lot of sense. They're also pushing a short form video content or content platform, which is meant to, compete with YouTube or with TikTok and Instagram Reels. The videos, it does have a little bit higher of a learning curve. Your videos usually need to be a little bit higher end, and it does favor the horizontal orientation rather than vertical, unless you're posting on shorts, and then you can do vertical video there. That's another thing, by the way, for video. A lot of us have been, I think, through that if you're taking a video, people want it to be, it has been said that you want it to be horizontal now so that, it'll show up on a computer screen. But today, most people view content and consume content on their smartphone, on their mobile device, on their tablets. So vertical video is just as useful. So definitely don't only do one or the other. Do a variety. If you're producing video content, produce some horizontal, produce some vertical. Moving on. If your business doesn't have a website, please get a website. It doesn't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to spend, thousands of dollars on the development. but it is the best, most reliable landing page for your business. If so, anything that you use on social media, make sure you include something that directs to your website so that people can go to the place where you have control of the message and where you can update content without worrying about the algorithm uploading or downloading something. It's the most remains the most customizable way to present your message of your business. It's also usually not owned by dubious billionaires or corporate conglomerates. If you do this, please make sure that you look at your website on multiple platforms, on mobile, on desktop, on tablet. Make sure you check all the links that you have on your website that they actually work. That's all I ask. Look at that guy. He's just like, yeah, that's right. All right, BBB, I'm just going to move past that. It is an interesting thing to know about, especially if you're looking for a business and you're not like contractors are a big one. If you need a contractor, it's worth checking out BBB to see who's accredited. But for most businesses, yeah, we'll let them work on their own stuff and advertise themselves later. Other networks. The big point that I made at the beginning of this presentation is that a lot of this information is useful in and of itself, regardless of what platform you might apply it to, because you may need to change platforms. Some platforms may go away. We do not own these platforms. We use them and utilize them at the mercy of the platform owners. And as we learned with Twitter/X, that can change in a day. So everything you learn today, take it with you and learn to apply it elsewhere when need be. That said, also anything you do apply anything you do apply to any of these websites and these social media platforms, yeah, update it once in a while. Make sure you're paying attention to it a little bit, and that's something I'm going to get to here in a minute. Simple checklist for anything you put on, and this applies elsewhere as well, but definitely for social media. Proofreading, spelling, typos, grammar. Make sure your pertinent info is accurate, up to date, present, and includes location. Fact check reported numbers, events, and etc. Anything that you put on there, make sure it's correct. Make sure you check it and have other people check it as well. Get once in a while, get some outside input to make sure that you're not at the mercy of your blind spots. And approach as somebody seeing it for the first time. The quality control is high, then usually you'll have better impact. So your next step, now that you know how to take the best cat photos, how do you make them work for your business? All right, so these are my chosen steps. You choose a level of next step social media engagement, schedule a small, sustainable amount of time, daily, weekly, monthly, whatever works for you, devoted to implementing and following up on these next steps. And find your connections with community businesses and follow each other on social media. The people who are in your business community, become a community. Establish that community on social media as well. Not only will you find each other's content, you can also support each other's content. So, some quick action items. So establish a page or account for your business on social media on social media platforms of your choosing. Schedule some time. I recommend starting weekly if you aren't currently doing it. Just get 5 to 10 minutes in there, post a little content, check your notifications and your messages, people, any customers or people just reaching out with questions. Look for some new connections, actually browse your social media feed, see if there's anybody else out there doing anything interesting. Follow them, engage with their posts. They may engage with your posts. Generate some of that connection. Third, curate your feeds. Choose which pages and accounts to prioritize, meaning the people that you follow, the people whose content will end up in your social media feed. You have a little bit of agency over that, and actively engage with those you wish to see more of in your feeds, because the algorithm will respond to that. If you like a page by, Susie's Banshee books today, tomorrow you're likely going to see another post by Susie's Banshee books. Fourth, this is one of my favorites. Find other businesses like yours on social media and see how they're utilizing social media for their business and steal all of their best ideas. Whole point of social media is that we don't own it. So take it all. Take everything you learn from anybody who's doing it well and start there and improve on it. Not joking one bit. Steal everything. We are here as a community. On the community front, as I said, like and follow and subscribe to other businesses, social media like yours. The way to generate engagement the way to build your community. You engage with these pages' contents. Find and share any pertinent content from your feed with your community following the 80-20 rule, or the 50, which remember, 80% entertainment slash informative, 20% business. So only 80% of the posts that you make should be, or only 20% of the posts you make should directly promote your business. The rest of them are there to just establish your brand voice, what you are like as a brand, what's interesting about your business, what's something other than just your cold hard, we fix floors. Like, great. Well, get yourself a better voice than that. Third, in addition to posting effective content, which content is a whole other seminar, tag any community pages when applicable. If there's something that's happening in your community, tag some of the people that are involved in it. If it's happening in the city of Roseville, tag the city of Roseville. If it's happening on Vernon Street, tag Vernon Street businesses. Repeat ad nauseum, and then monitor that engagement. Anybody that does notice that they've been tagged and likes that, that's somebody you can likely engage with in the future. And fourth, why not post about this seminar that Nolan is sponsoring right here with the Stack Interactive right now? Yeah, after we post that video, just share it. Did you find something useful on it? Share it on your social media feeds. Maybe somebody else can benefit out there that didn't know about it. That's how I found out about most of my favorite stuff, is by my friends sharing things on social media. Super useful stuff. Left this slide here just because I was using this. If you guys need, by the way, and as I said, developing content is a whole other seminar. It's just volumes of stuff written about it. But there is a program that I used to develop this presentation. It was called Canva. It's very easy to use, very user-friendly. There's a free version available, but the professional version is not very expensive. It's about $15 a month for one user, and then it goes up depending on how many people you want to have licensed to use it. But that's what I used, and this slide was just one of the things that was already involved. And this dude is just, like, it looks exactly like a beetle. So I left him in. Speaking words of wisdom. Anyways, content. We talked about this already, but I'll reiterate. The 80-20 rule exists for engagement purposes. It's so that people will see your content and not immediately feel like they were being marketed to. Because how do you feel when you're being marketed to? Feel dirty. Feel icky. It's like film. Like, ugh. When you see somebody knocking on your door to sell you a vacuum cleaner, you do not want to let that person in your, or you do not want to open the door to that person. But when they're holding a cat video, you might want to see that cat video. And then, you're more likely to hear what they have to say about that vacuum cleaner. There's no shame in entertaining, because how can you sell somebody something if you don't have their attention? That's by a guy named Daniel Murray, and he runs a wonderful little marketing collective called the Marketing Millennials. Something worth following if you want to get into some marketing details. That's pretty much all I have for today. I made this back in April, so added a wonderful little "It's gonna be May" meme there, but that's everything that I have for today. I hope you found something interesting and useful. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Let's see, you can find me with my full name on Facebook. It's Joshua Dale Krage. You can find me on Instagram at agrokrag, AGROKRAG. And you can find one of my 32 band pages on any of those platforms as well, because I'm involved in a lot of those, and that's what I do most of my social media marketing in service of. So thanks for having me, and let us know if you have any questions or anything.
Thanks very much, Josh. That was great.
Thanks, Josh.
If anyone would like to ask questions, feel free to unmute yourselves and ask away. And if it gets too noisy, I'll moderate. But if anyone has any questions for Josh, go for it.
I'm just going to scroll through this as we go.
Hey, Josh,
Hello.
would you provide a personal... Hi, thank you for everything tonight. Wondering if you would provide like a personalized kind of walkthrough of next steps to help with social marketing for my small business.
I can give it a
shot.
shot.
I don't even know where to begin.
First question is, what is your small business?
Well, I hand dye fabrics,
Awesome.
mostly 100% cotton napkins and pillowcases and baby onesies. And the most I have sold, I usually go to the craft, fairs and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, was actually at an art show, if you can believe it.
I
So
can believe that.
those were the people that wanted to buy my fabric as basically artwork. And so I actually put fabric in frames, and then
Oh, nice.
I sold that way. But I'm not doing a lot on social media because I don't, you know, I'm 50 something and
Hmm.
I don't, it doesn't I don't know how to, open up and make my business happen. And I notice, what, people will pay $20 for a cinnamon roll, but they won't pay $20 for a set of napkins. A
Yeah.
nice hand dyed
Well, yeah, you
napkin.
can't
So
eat
it's just a
napkins, and I
very
want.
interesting thing, right? But they'll pay anything for food. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out all of that, and just not quite sure how to utilize you know, Instagram.
I
I
can give
think
you
is
a
probably the best.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can give you a quick, a few easy next steps for you on that. And I'll start with
Cool.
something I haven't really covered a whole lot. I hinted at it, but in terms of like your social media being a brand voice billboard, any business using
Mm-hmm.
social media, most everybody who asks me about it just wants to make like more money, like to advertise and to make more money. And that's kind of missing the point of social media. Social media is a slow burn. You establish more
Mm-hmm.
visibility, you establish a brand voice, you become more visible, and you slowly grow an audience. And you also provide an easier ability for your customers to share your content themselves with their communities. It's not something that has immediate impact most of the time. It's a slow
Mm-hmm.
build, but it does build over time. So a couple of easy next steps for you. If hopefully you have, do you already have an Instagram or a Facebook or a TikTok or
I
some kind
I
of account?
yeah, I do have all those
Excellent.
accounts.
That's half the battle.
Yeah.
Already having your handle and your kind of your flag planted, as it were. So that's a huge start. Uh, Logistically, just or pragmatically, here's one easy thing you can do. The next time you go about a dyeing project, or a
Yes.
fabric project, whatever you kind of do, find a way to set up your phone to where you can take a video of it, either a regular video or like of one of the more interesting, minute long bits of that dyeing process, or do a time
Okay.
lapse of it, and then you want to aim it for about 60 to 90 seconds and share that as a reel, because that's something
Okay.
people don't usually get to see, especially if you do a time lapse and then at the very end of it, once you finish, post the finished product, and then
Gotcha.
that's engaging content. What you want to do, the first thing you want to do is develop some content that displays what you do. Why does your business have merit? What's interesting about it? Well, if it's visually stimulating, do some visual content for that. Then, uh, one other easy lift that you do. Most of the time, your business doesn't happen on social media. You're going to go out and you're going to be at makers marts. You're going to be at
Right.
street fairs and such like that. So you're already making like the money elsewhere. It's not going to be on social media. But the thing that you're providing with having your social media present and visible when you're out there at those makers marts and those fairs is that they
Mm.
can see how to tag you in their own
Mm-hmm.
posts, and then they can share that content a lot more easily. So you can make that like not a step that you have to provide for them. It's already present. They see it, so you just add it, like make a little printout that maybe a little sign that like hangs in front of your booth or that sits on top of your table that's has your information, your website, and your social media handles. Maybe make a little QR code. QR codes are something that are
Mm-hmm.
pretty easy to develop these days, and you can just print that out. That will take people to your website and to your social media,
Okay.
and that can increase engagement without much
Okay.
effort. Those are a couple
Excellent.
of easy things.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so very much.
It applies to a lot of other businesses too, but yeah, doing dyeing projects. That's a really neat thing to watch. So yeah.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Anybody else? Feel free to just unmute yourselves and ask away. Going once, going twice. Oh, Tim,
Can you
go
go
for it.
back to the LinkedIn slide?
Yes, I can. Let's find that LinkedIn slide. Let's go to that awards luncheon. Here we go. Here are all the things you need to know about LinkedIn.
I imagine that doesn't work as well for you if you're mostly advertising bands, but I
No,
just
it
want to take a no, yeah. I myself, I'm a programmer, and so my consideration in being entrepreneurial is perhaps doing some kind of like ongoing content about programming that would engage other programmers and want them to show up for like training programs or that sort of thing.
Yeah, posting about a seminar or a webinar can track pretty well on LinkedIn as long as you have like today we used meetup.com for this. For LinkedIn posts and social content, the thing that tracks the best is if you're attending today, you can post about that saying, I just attended this thing that was about marketing and about, small business social media things. And, these other people were involved and that's for some reason really impressive. And that's how I would use a.
It's funny. I avoided LinkedIn for years because I thought it was just a swarm fest or swarm. Yeah. Anyways, I wasn't a socially, I wasn't into the social stuff. Anyways, I'm like behind a monitor. But I have to say, like, if you connect with a bunch of people of like mind in your industry, you actually do end up with a lot of stuff where you're like, oh yeah, that stuff they're doing is cool.
Yeah,
it's not as like just schmooze fest as I thought it would be.
I mean, it's still pretty schmoozy, but it's
I
not.
agree that you have to like be positive. That's the only thing you can do there.
I have a friend who has music roots. He was a former music manager of some very well-known bands, and he's moved on to venture capital and developing music software and a lot of other kind of revolutionary, groundbreaking things and such. He uses LinkedIn a lot, and he shares interesting content. So I find out about a lot of like-minded things that things for me through his posts on LinkedIn. He doesn't really engage in any other social media. So, through him, I found some other, magnates of the industry, and now I know what they post, and they post interesting things as well that I wouldn't have heard about.
It also seems like it might end up with a lot more traffic just from the fallout from the site formerly known as Twitter.
Maybe there are a couple other places that Twitter /X/ whatever he's gonna call it next week. Uh, that's ongoing. Tracking
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
is
it's not
exhausting.
it won't all go one place. It depends on what the content is. But I was
Mm-hmm.
exclusively following tech nerds, so you know, I you'd think they'd all just go to Mastodon, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, there's no reliable direction to track any of that engagement, any of those users.
Okay, so what about YouTube? Um, that seems to be quite a bit different than like TikTok or
Oh yeah.
Instagram. Uh, like I don't even know how to make content for TikTok. I don't get that. Like I don't know if that would work for coders even. Like
Most of the time you wouldn't have anything you need to advertise in that respect if you're trying to use it for a business purpose. Like yeah, I don't see those Venn diagram circles converging
I
necessarily.
mean, I did see an ad on Instagram for the TLDR newsletter, and the
Nice.
ad was done in an effective way. I was like, oh, I could sign up for that. Yeah. So I mean, it's not all just fashion, but yeah, I think YouTube seems to be more where you could target tech stuff, and the fact that they do shorts now, I've seen some really good shorts for like doing coding stuff. They
Mhm.
all they do is have like a tall format video of just a portion of a computer screen with like just a tiny bit of code, and they just go through something in like 20 seconds. But it's really catchy.
Yeah,
So
that's of high value to a lot of people. Like you can learn a lot doing that. But yeah, for YouTube, a thing that I learned from my now 19-year-old child is how much kids use it for search. They do not go on Google. They do not go on Yahoo. They don't go to any of the search engines. They go to YouTube, and then they just watch videos, and they will watch videos for hours and hours, and that becomes their search engine and how they learn about
yeah,
new
and I
content.
mean, I have to admit that would be probably my biggest target audience. Is just that it's like younger programmers are probably going to be less experienced, and those are the people that I would be trying to teach, because if they know a bunch of stuff already, maybe they don't need my stuff.
Yeah, well, then they can share it around, because if you produce even if it's something that they know, if you produce it and demonstrate it in a way that's short and effective, that can be of use and that can be shareable.
So do you have any advice on how to get good at that type of thing? Like Fireship, right? Those videos are awesome, but they're
I
90
steal.
seconds long, and it probably took them
Yeah.
like 3 hours to make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, your editing skill matters and getting better at editing. But I steal all those skills. I see somebody do it and like I can figure that out and I figure it out. And then I reverse engineer it and just do that. We have there's a lot of free video editing apps out there, both tall and wide orientation. Not all of them work the same, but they all work. And if you want to pay money for one, you can get a lot of really good editing programs that you can use just on your phone. I have a few that I use. That's something that's solvable.
I figure the
Within a
editing
short amount of time.
software is worth the investment if you're actually going to be making that stuff a bunch. It's more just like how do you make the investment and learning how to do it.
Can I jump in here, Josh?
Yes.
The quick answer to that, Tim, is start.
Yes.
Seriously,
Today's day one.
There's a couple memes going around lately that say something to the effect of your first video is going to be crappy, but your 100th video can't be good until you've done your 99 terrible videos first. It's like,
Right.
start. Just make them and make them consistently.
So do you have
every
to publish
week.
99 before the 100th one is good, or
yes,
like, can you just throw the first 99 away and then publish
them, because that's part of the step that'll get you used to the idea of this is going to be presented in front of people.
Yes.
But there's no rule that says after you publish 100 you can't go back and delete the first 10 that you think stink really bad.
Yeah, you can.
But you have to. If you don't publish anything, then the algorithm doesn't see you putting regular content up with any sort of cadence, and none of your stuff is ever going to be picked up by anyone. So if you like that dopamine hit of people clicking like and commenting on your videos and telling you the parts of it they enjoyed, you have to post the 99 terrible videos first before you post that really good.
I don't think that I will be that type of person. In fact, I think I'll actively avoid reading what people say, except for maybe like filtering it through some sort of algorithmic thing just to get like a heat map or something. But like I don't want to take it personally. It's just like
that's definitely good, a trick with it. Yeah,
great. It's like, because you're invariably gonna read the one by the troll that's just like trying to get your goat, and they're just like,
hey, that's a really good book enough to do something. So no,
there's a really good book by Austin
Kleon. Thank you for the engagement. Thank you.
There's a really good book by Austin Kleon called Show Your Work. You can read the whole thing in like 45 minutes. It's super short, and it's all basically about that mental block that all of us have in like sharing a thing on the web. Is like, how do I get over the problem of being freaked out about sharing this thing and worrying about the trolls and worrying about all of the other facets of that? Like, Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. He has 3 books kind of on this topic. I reread all 3 of them every year as a way to get reset and charged up again about
your work.
Show Your Work by Austin Kleon.
Oh, just show your work. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. What do you guys think about written content versus like short form video? Like, which are they both useful? Like, which one's easier to get started with, or which one is the better one to like? Is it better to learn how to just make video and not worry about?
I think they both have their place. If no other reason, deaf people can't watch videos unless they're closed captioned. So they would read the content, and then, you know, vice versa. Blind people don't read the content unless it's set up to be SEO optimized so that it can be read by a screen reader through the speaker on their laptop, or, you know, they listen to podcasts and that sort of video. So like both have their place.
Yeah, I agree. But I would say whichever one you don't already know how to do, start working on that. Because you can write something, most everybody can write something, but what do you pay more attention to? What does your customer pay more attention to? Most likely it's going to be visual content.
Yeah.
And it's probably
Yeah, I mean,
video,
I think you're
visual
right
content.
about the kids going on YouTube instead of reading stuff. I mean, it does seem to be the trend. I
It's
personally,
quicker.
if I can
Yeah,
read
short attention
something,
span.
I'll go that route just because I can't. Like, I can read efficiently, but I can't watch video efficiently. Like, podcasts and video are a terrible way for me to learn stuff because I'm just always like, wait, what did they say? And then like backing it up. There's no like right speed, but reading, I can like read at my own speed, I guess. But that's, I don't know. I don't know if that's just me or I'm just old or what.
Well, it's thinking about how the customer like views it, or how your end user views it versus how your preference. We don't want to make things that only appeal to us, because then we're only going to find people that are like us.
Right.
All right. Well, I got. I'm being informed that I need to get off pretty soon. I have several texts coming through.
Any other quick question for Josh before we call it a night? All right. If anybody, Josh, yeah, please send the link to your slide decks and stuff, and I will put that on the YouTube video when we get that launched. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us tonight. Next talk will be the third Wednesday in October. We've got Corbin giving a talk on, I can't think of it off the top of my head, some sort of JavaScript library thing he's working on. So we're covering all the bases. Probably, yes, the one that you saw at the Sept.js thing last week.
Yes.
Yeah, the updated version of that one. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining us. You can find more info at stackinteractive.com. Have a good night, everybody.